Welcome to Black Girls Can Talk, the podcast where we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about what it means to be a Black woman in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. DaJaneil McCree, founder of Black Girls Can Talk. And here, we're creating a space where we can unpack everything from culture and beauty trends to mental health and the joys and challenges of Black womanhood. Whether you're here for the tea or looking for deep discussions, you're in the right place. So grab your seat at the table and let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Can Talk, where we uplift and empower the stories of Black women. Today, I'm super excited. I have a special guest with me today, Coach Fai, who is an intuitive transitional coach and the founder of Your Calling is Calling. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. What about you?
Good, thank you. And thank you for joining me because we've had so many email exchanges about just working together and all the ways we want to give back to Black women in particular. And we finally get to sit on this stage together. So thank you so much.
I'm excited.
So I'm going to have you start by telling us a little bit more about yourself. And of course, I'll ask questions later, but tell us who you are.
Okay, so I'm Faye. My real name's Elena. I go by Faye. So I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and I recently moved to Houston, Texas back in August 2021 to answer my calling. So I've been out here since then. I'm 28. I have a 6-year-old son. I started my coaching business while I was out here in Houston. So it's my Instagram is under Your Calling is Calling. That's a part of the movement. The actual business name is ISN, but on like social media and everything, it's mostly like Your Calling is Calling because that's the movement that I'm starting for the business.
So what I heard you say was you are not only a Black woman, but you are a mother, you're an entrepreneur, you're a coach, and with all of that, you focus on women and Black women in particular. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for how you're giving back even to your child, because that sets the example for the rest of us.
Yes, and I also just recently launched my podcast as well, Progressing on Purpose. Yes, we just wrapped up season 1, so we're currently on break preparing for season 2. So we're definitely going to get that in there too. But I will be looking for guests and all that soon, so y'all stay tuned for that.
Yes, period. Let us know how we can help you at Black Girls Can Talk too. And we'll talk offline about my guest appearance. Before I get into some statistics, I wanted to just open the floor with your take on what it means to truly just embrace yourself.
That's a good question. So, what it truly means for me, embracing yourself, is really just accepting who you are, not trying to dim your light around, certain people, like kind of just like, changing yourself for whatever room you may be in, but letting you authentically shine and just being you and just owning that and being confident because it all starts with you and the confidence comes from you. If you let your confidence come from other people, then it can go up and down, it can vary. So it all starts with us. So just looking at yourself, knowing who you are and walking confidently in that.
Period. Thank you. Some statistics say there was a 2022 survey that found that only 39% of Americans, so not just Black individuals, but Americans feel fulfilled in their purpose, with many struggling to define their calling. Other studies have shown that Black women face higher levels of imposter syndrome and workplace bias, making it harder to embrace professional and personal transitions. And research also suggests that 80% of people will stay in unsatisfying careers or relationships out of fear of change despite feeling unfulfilled. So I want to just kind of talk about your journey in discovering your calling, because we know that you have your calling is calling, but what was that pivotal point for you that you were just like, okay, I'm not walking in my purpose. Like, I'm not walking in what it is that I know that I'm here on this earth to do. What was that pivotal moment for you?
Yes, and I love how you brought up those statistics because that definitely aligns like with my business, with ISN, progressing on further. That's what I'm all about, with getting people from getting out of that place and stepping and moving forward. So I love how you brought up that statistic. But yes, for me, the pivotal moment, because I heard God calling me. He was telling me that I need to leave my hometown. He was telling me something about Texas. Like I kept hearing about Texas, but I kept like putting it to the side. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but it was like there. But it wasn't until like the end of 2019 when I was sitting at my cubicle at my call center job. It was like through a temp agency. So like at that time, I was starting to get like real tired of just working temporary jobs and just like doing stuff for a paycheck, just trying to get paid, just trying to make it by, just trying to survive. Like I was tired of doing that. So I was at that point, I didn't even really want to like make friends or talk to anybody at work. Like I just wanted to go in, clock in, do what I gotta do, and then go home. So I was just sitting there at my desk, and then I just heard him like keep telling me like, Lena, there's more to life than what you're accepting. Like it's more to life than what you're tolerating. So I really was just sitting there thinking, and I remember, and I was like, dang, I remember he was telling me that I need to, leave my hometown. I need to move. So I was like, okay. So I planned to move that tax season, and that was that year of 2020. So we know all what happened. COVID ended up coming, and everything started shutting down. So like I was like that brought fear to me. It brought doubt. Like it brought all type of stuff. And so I was like, oh, I can't move right now. Like all this stuff going on. So I ended up putting it to the side, and it was crazy because they was literally handing out money left and right like that whole year. So it would have been a good time to do it. But just me, like I was still like in my flesh. I was looking at like everything that was going on, and that was real early in my journey. Like I ain't even like answer my comments. So I was like still like all in my head. Like I used to really like overthink a lot. So I ended up prolonging it for like another year, and then I finally made that step. Like after having a mental breakdown, after going through something traumatic in my previous business, because I had a sweets business before I actually moved. So I was working on that. And then I had to end up shutting that down. So after that happened, like everything, I was just like, okay, I got to move again. Like it started coming back. So he let me go with that sweets business for a little minute until he snatched it up out of me. And then I was like, okay. And then reality sat back in, like, okay, I'm not supposed to be here. Because that was the only thing that was keeping me sane back in my hometown was like me doing that sweets business. So that was the thing that really caught me when I was just sitting at my job. And that's the time like I really actually heard him like, okay, this is something I need to do.
Well, that's amazing. I love not just hearing from God, but knowing when you're hearing from Him, because
Mhm.
that's totally different,
Yeah.
right? You can hear from Him all the time, but
Hmm.
when you feel that it's Him, it your obedience is just different because you know that it's God driven and you know that it's Him speaking to you. So it makes you more prone to be like, okay, I'm gonna move because God says so.
Yeah.
But that made me, while you were talking, that made me think of like just my own personal journeys throughout life. And I'm just wondering for you, what would you say was like the hardest part of that journey and how did you overcome that?
Well, I didn't even know it was answering my calling at first. Like I didn't even know like, oh, I'm finna go answer my calling. Like I'm finna go on this journey.
Right.
It wasn't none of that. I was just like, I just knew that I had to do like what God told me to do. Like I knew if I stayed in my hometown, like if I continued to stay there, it was even just being there, I felt like I was at a cap. Like I couldn't really break past this glass ceiling. It was like it always was like a certain limit I reached. And I realized like after stepping out of that environment, it really like it was like clouding like my create like stuff wasn't really flowing. Like when I once I left there, like so many stuff started like coming to me. God started telling me to do start doing stuff, stuff start getting revealed. And it was like I was doing stuff like I used to do in the past, like I used to write and I used to do like poetry. He started leading me back into that. And then when he leading me to do that, that led to my book. Like it was so many things like once I stepped outside of the frame. And then it's like I was on the outside looking in. I was like, dang, like I see, like if I would have stood there, like Lord no, like where I'd be at right now. But just with that transition, it was a lot because a lot with me specifically, it was like finances. And at that time, during that time, at first I didn't have a car, but I ended up getting a car like later on that next year. It was like a couple months before I actually moved. But I didn't know I was going to move yet. But it was just, I got the car because I was doing my sweets business and I had to do like deliveries. And people was making it hard for me to, because I was trying to use super cars and they, you know what I'm saying? I know you know how that goes. So I was like, okay, let me get my own stuff so I could be in my own time. But that car ended up needing for me to take my behind the Texas like I was supposed to do anyways. But yeah, so it was like the financial part where it was bringing me down, like how I'm gonna do this. Like I don't have money, like stuff like that. So we kept like every time we tried to like plan to like save up, stuff happened and it was like I was like, okay. So we kept planning like move like towards the end of the year, but I was like, I'm just gonna take what I get. So I think at that time they was giving out like the 300 like child tax credits at that time. So I just took what they was giving away, the free money they was giving away at the time, and I used that like as an extra cushion. And I sold everything in my room, and I just took whatever I could fit in my Jeep, and I took my son, his father, and we just moved and we left and went to Texas.
I know that's right. So you mentioned your book.
Mhm.
Your book was birthed out of this journey, out of this process of purpose, excuse me. So tell us more about your yes, come on, you better. Tell us more. What's the title? What is it about? We love a good read.
Yes.
So tell us about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you like exactly like how it came about. So it's called A Blooming You. So it's all about comparing the blooming of a flower to a blooming of a human on this journey. So how it came about, like I said, God had led me to start he first led me to start like doing inspirational videos. I was doing that. And then he led me to start back writing. He was like, remember you used to write poetry. So I started writing poetry, and that kind of at first it was just like for an outlet for me to like kind of express what how I was feeling, how I was going through. Because at that time it was still kind of rocky. Because at first I was still focused on my sweets business that I started back in Jacksonville. So at that time, like once I moved and I left, I was like, okay, kind of like now what? So I was focused on the sweets business. I was kind of like still working on that. But then I didn't feel like it really wasn't going where I was supposed to do because I was in a hotel at the time. So I was like, okay, God, how you want me to start this? Like, do you want me to like what I'm supposed to do? So that's when I kind of like went back to the drawing board and just kind of like just sat in my hotel for one day because I usually was doing DoorDash. So I kind of just I slowed down for a second and just stopped and really see like, okay, like God, what you need me to do in this time? And that's when he led me about doing the videos. He led me to write the poetry. So then eventually he told me to write about a flower blooming. And he let me to like he's like, okay, look up the process and like see the steps that for all that. So I looked it up and I was like, dang, this is like similar. This is similar, you know, like to us, like human beings and stuff like that. So I just took each step, each stage of that process and I wrote a poem for each stage and then I broke it down and gave it like, you know, an assignment for like each one. So that's really what the book is about, is going through those stages of a flower blooming, comparing it to a human, and you know getting that revelation of how it's the same thing and how those stages compare to this journey. And it's crazy because when I first wrote the book I really didn't even really understand what I was writing because I didn't really get like the full revelation until like later on, like probably like that next year, like I started seeing stuff happen in my life. I was like, dang, I wrote about this in my book. I was like, hold on, I wrote about this. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is just like the exact same thing, like the stages I'm going through, like on this stage, like starting with that seed and then like, you know, not looking like that beautiful flower in the beginning and having to bud out your shell, like just all of that. And I was like, dang, it's crazy. Like it was really beautiful, like the aha moment when I was like, oh, like that's why he made me to write this. And like at first, like I didn't even get like I only got like one sale on it. So I was kind of discouraged. But then like walking my journey, I was like, I realized like God would have us to do things, but it might not be like for that moment, for that season, but it's like it's preparing you for like another season. So you'll see why, like, okay, I see why it didn't happen at that time. Cause I had to end up like revising the Amazon description, like the book description and all that. Cause I was like, I really like understood like what I wrote. So I just realized it was a time and a season for everything, child.
And it is like you spoke to me so much in that because I wrote my book in 2023 and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's here now.
Okay.
And of course, we don't know what his plans are, right? So, like, coming into 2025, where the world has changed so much and there is a there's always been and should have been a focus on black women, but Black Girls Can Talk is now more relevant than ever. And look at him having us both do podcasts
Mm-hmm.
now. Like, it's yes, I resonate with you saying there is a time and a
Yeah.
season for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we just not patient. And when you think about it, we're so quick to want to get to the next stage, but it's like when you think about it, you couldn't have been where you are now without going through everything you just went through, right? So you may not have gotten to the point of becoming a coach, doing your coaching business, launching your podcast without all of the stuff you went through. And so you were preparing in that season to be able to prepare others. And I think that's
Exactly.
so, 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 so beautiful.
Yes,
That's so
exactly. That's really what people
beautiful.
need to get to, because I know when I first started my journey, like I was I didn't know like about the, our time and God's time. Like I heard about it, but it really wasn't in my mind because nobody was really telling me like what I didn't know what I was doing. I was like I didn't know exactly like what journey I was walking until like God really revealed to me like, okay, like this is what you're doing. Like, and I don't know if you're familiar with the biblical story, like with the Israelites escaping Egypt, going through the wilderness, and that was he was like that's the
Sure
same
enough.
thing that I was doing. So that's really like the steps to like the different type of people I work with in my coaching is those people's like that want to escape out of the Egypt, the ones going through the wilderness, and the ones that need to go possess their promised land, which is, currently what I'm doing right now. So I didn't know what I was doing. So at that time when I was like building my business up, I was like, trying to like make sales, trying to find, different ways to make money. Cause it was like, of course they got to make some money. So, but it's like stuff wasn't happening when it was happening. So I was like, kind of discouraged. But then I realized later on, okay, like it wasn't the time or the season for that. So like, especially like when you're going from like the wilderness to the promised land, like it's like you got to renew your mind all over again because like you like, dang, I did this before and it didn't work. Like I ain't like, but it wasn't the time of the season at that time. So it's like you really gotta you gotta understand like the timing, like all that, being in alignment, everything.
Yep. And we're going to add some scripture to that. Romans 12:12. Do not be transformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Amen. Thank you, Holy Spirit. When we first met, we were like, we kind of the same person, just from a different city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember
Because
that.
just what you said, yes, what you said about going through the wilderness
Hmm.
and everything that you applied from the Bible just now, like we both have been in storms. And I think a lot of the listeners and viewers have found themselves in a season. And if you haven't gone through any adversity, then you haven't experienced life, first of all. But you have to go through adversity to be pruned. And that's exactly what we've been talking about, is being pruned for the next stages of life.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. As you were talking, I was thinking about, because you talked about your previous situation and, for lack of better terms, the toxic environment you were in,
Mhm.
right? And we've spoken a little bit about this before, but me being from Detroit, I always tell people I breathe Detroit, okay? However, being where I'm at now, I realized that my environment was
Yeah.
toxic. And it wasn't until I left that I realized just how toxic it was.
Yeah.
So tell me about just coming out of that toxic environment, and how do you feel like moving away from that has helped you in the journey you're on now?
It definitely it helped me discover like my purpose more and realize like what I'm really here to do. Because I guess I would say like when I was back there, it kind of was like a routine, and I don't know, I guess it had a lot to do with my mindset too. Like my mindset wasn't there, and it could be definitely like the people that was around. It's like we started like I said, like towards the end when we was like getting, when I was like in my mind that I need to move. I had like the business idea. You see, I started like the sweets business, so it was like kind of there. Like I knew I wanted to like start my own business, but I didn't know like what my purpose was. So like I said, like just there, I just felt like it was a lot of like, even just like in the house, it was like a lot of energies because I really stayed like with my family. It was only my brother and his wife who moved out, but like everybody else was like still in the house and all our kids. Like at that time, my son was like, I think he was like 2, so he was like, it was like a whole bunch of babies. So it was like a whole bunch of energies. Like, I could just feel like with one person acting out, I could just feel like, oh, I can feel their energy, and then I can literally feel like that energy go to somebody else. This other person, they start acting out. I'm like, I'm like, what's going on in here? So I knew it was like a whole bunch of things where I was like, no, because it was like so many times where I could have, but I had opportunity, but I didn't do it. Like, I didn't take it, and it's like nobody around me told me to like take it either. It was like they were just sitting back with me. Like, we would have just been sitting there my whole life. Like, if I would have never decided to like actually step and like move and like try to do something different, I would have still just been in the same cycle, like doing the same thing. Even though I may feel like I'm like might have went somewhere, just like my business where I felt like things started rolling, and then it was like boom, like right back to square one. It was like right back down. So I was like, no, like I'm tired of these cycles and all these things that I keep going through. So I knew it was something more that I had to step away from out in that environment. And I see like just stepping out, it brings like I'm more at peace, especially in like internally. And it's like I don't feel like, it's hard to describe, but it just feel like it was like a blockage over there. Like something was like blocking me. I probably do know what it is, but I don't want to get like too much into it because it's like probably like more like a spiritual thing. But I just feel like it was a lot of like blockages over there that was preventing me from like really moving forward and seeing like, really opening my eyes.
I love that. I love that because, to your point, when we're stuck in perpetual cycles, they become normalized. Like, we don't realize that we're repeating the same cycle, or that it is not a good cycle to be in. So a lot of times you do have to step away from that, right? And be able to just reflect and be like, well, maybe that, okay, maybe that's what was holding me back. And you don't really, to your point, you may have been succeeding, but he had more for you at the end of the day. And it's not until you start doing the things that he's calling you to do that you realize that. So this season, we're actually introducing something we call the rundown.
Okay.
So if you've ever played this or that,
Hmm.
it's the same thing. So I'm going to spitfire some questions to you, and then I'll have you pick one. It might be hard, but you got to pick one,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
So let's get into it. Okay. So speak your truth or keep the peace.
I'm gonna speak my truth, of course. I'm gonna speak my truth.
See, this one, okay. I know I'm asking you the questions, but this one is a little hard for me because sometimes, as a behavioral scientist,
Hmm.
I can understand when people aren't self aware and I'm not wasting my
Yeah.
breath. So I am okay knowing that I know the
Mm.
truth and that you are not the one that's in the right.
Yeah.
I can walk away knowing that.
Yes.
But I'm going to always say what's true when I do speak. So
Hmm.
I feel you.
Yes.
Would you prefer podcast or poetry?
Hmm. I think I would definitely would do podcasts just because I can actually like talk to people and get their story and get feedback. Cause I realize I'm really like, good. Like people tell me a lot. They was like, oh, you're good with interviews and like storytelling and all that. Like I remember one interview, I wasn't like, it was last minute. I forgot that she had rescheduled. So I was like, oh my God, I had to go in like last minute and I didn't really have any questions together. So I really just flow during the whole interview. And she was like, dang, you couldn't even tell that you wasn't prepared. So it was like I really I like this concept, and I never thought about doing this back in my hometown. Like let me make that clear. Like I never thought I was gonna be, like on the show, like talking to people, asking questions. I didn't know I was gonna be doing all that. I did not like. I
Never.
didn't really want to be too much in the forefront. Like I was just, I was like in the back, but I still like stood out. Like people still like noticed me and recognized me, even if they, addressed me or not. Like they still like who is that girl back there? So that's what God was like, baby. No, you meant to be in the forefront, on stage, leading. So yeah, I definitely like doing the podcast.
I know that's right. So, speaking of telling stories, would you rather share your story or help others tell theirs?
That's a good
I
question.
know.
Share my story or help others tell. Ooh, I'll stick with the queen on that one. Share my story or help others tell theirs. Ooh, okay. I guess the helper in me, like, would say to help other people to tell their stories, because I guess that would help to free more people. Like, people can hear my story and they can be like, okay, that can help them. But like, if more people tell their stories and they actually, like, tell their testimony, what they've been through, that's like a domino effect that's gonna help other people too, but help free them and free other people. So I just, putting me behind and, just being that helper, I would definitely help other people tell the story. I haven't really even told my whole story yet. That's the crazy part. But I got a series on YouTube, The Journey of Answering My Calling, where I'm going through the parts. So I'm going to end up finishing that and, like, telling my story, like, what I went through on this journey. So that's coming to y'all on my YouTube. Your calling is
Yes, that.
calling.
Yes, that's so exciting. Please,
Yes.
if you forget everything else, please remember to let me know about that so
Yes,
I can
I
share
will.
with the listeners here
Yes, I think it's
in
already
our
like
community.
I believe I did two parts. I did the parts like right before I got to Texas. So I did like everything up to that point. Like basically my what I was going through back in my hometown. So that's like the parts I got out. So I wanted to wait to really release until I got like a full revelation, like everything that I've been through, because I didn't want to tell the story from like a bitter or hurt, angry place. Like I wanted to really have like clarity and like watch everything come around full circle to really understand like what I went through. So I'm definitely at that point. So I definitely should be releasing those like this year.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, we're going to do one last one and then we'll wrap up and let the people know again how to find you. Being seen or being understood?
Oh, definitely understood. Definitely understood because you can be seen and people won't understand you. Like people can see you, but they don't really understand like what you got going on, like what you doing, like what you really trying to do. Like I see you, but like what you really trying to do. Like I definitely wanted to be understood, and that's like a thin line too because not everybody gonna understand you. That's why you got like your certain tribe that you called to because people gonna be like, oh, what's she talking about? Like I'm not for you. Like that's why you don't understand. Like I'm not called to everybody. I'm not called to help everybody. Like I'm not Jesus. I'm not God. I'm not trying to be him. So I'm just called to the certain people that hear what I'm saying and like it clicked for them and they like, ooh, like this is what I need. Like this is what I've been feeling like inside. The people who understand. That's the way I want to be understood. I don't want to be understood by everybody because that ain't never gonna happen. The way this society set up, the way human beings set up, no, we a weird species, child.
Yes. And what people don't realize is people don't have to like you. Not everybody you come across is going to like you. And that's
Exactly.
okay with
You don't
me.
want everybody to
As
like
long as
you
you
either.
right. As long as you heard me and understand me. That's all I care. I don't care about being seen. As you talked about, like being on this platform, I was like, I don't, that's nerve wracking because I don't care to be in the forefront. But that's just part of what God had as part of both of our callings. So we had to give it up because obedience, listen, we don't get to tell God what we gonna do. Okay, so I had to let that go.
Yeah,
I was just like, whatever you
I
say.
definitely have to.
Um,
That's a whole nother conversation.
child.
That's why I really want to help people on this journey too. It's a lot of things you got to learn and a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I'm trying to make it easier for other people because I ain't have no guide. Like I was going through like trial and error. So it's like what I learned from this journey. I just want pass on to somebody else to help them to learn too. So that don't mean the journey gonna be easy, but it's gonna make it like you don't have to make so many mistakes and take so long to actually like get it.
And so, with that, what advice would you give to listeners, especially Black women, even allies, right? What advice would you give to people who are in the in between, who are on a journey, who may not necessarily understand what's happening and they're being patient, they're waiting, they're trying to figure out what their calling is? What advice would you give to those individuals?
So I would definitely tell y'all just to do like whatever you feel inside you, whether you do know if it's God or not. I know like in this world we call it our intuition. That's what I used to call it before, like before I went this journey, because I realized every time I went against my intuition, I was like, dang, I should listen. But then I realized later on, like that's the Holy Spirit guiding me. That's my discernment. The like gifts that I didn't really know I had. But I realized, like with it getting strengthened, like later on, I realized, what it really was. So just listen to that inside voice and listen to like where it's guiding you. Even if you feel like you might not see the whole picture, you never gonna see the whole picture at first. Like it's not gonna, you're not gonna understand. You're gonna be like, should I do this? Like just do it. Just take that step. Just do it. And you're gonna be unsure, and it's gonna look like it's gonna look rocky, and people gonna be looking at you like you crazy. Like you definitely not gonna be able to listen to the naysayers. If you got at least one person that's like that knows what you're going through, and they're supporting you, like that's good. Like I pray that y'all have like at least one person, because if I ain't had that, okay. But it's like everybody's journey is different, so you really just gotta take it like whatever is your journey and just take that and walk confidently in it. Because I know I was going through really accepting like what God was calling me to do, like what my purpose was. Because I didn't really like, I knew I didn't fit in with the church, but I also knew I didn't fit in with the world. So it was like I was like kind of like in between. So I was like, okay, because I knew like how judgmental church folks was. So it was like I really don't want to like dealing with those type of people, but it was like no, like this is why I'm calling you here for, to like raise you up, to like be that example and to show people like, no, this is not what all church is about, like how all Christians are. Like, no, it's another way that you can like get to me besides just, going to church and feeling like, oh, I don't sin, I don't do this. Like it's so much more deeper than that. Because people been in church all their life and they still like stuck in the same cycles, and they still dealing with those inner demons. So it's like walking this journey is like God deals with all of that. So it's like y'all, it's gonna be worth it. Like your life gonna get shooken up, but that's because you going into something new. Like God got to get rid of the old, and the new got to come in. So you're gonna feel some turbulence, and you're gonna be like, dang, like, am I doing the right thing? Because you're gonna see like stuff start happening, but you doing the right thing. That's just, your life kind of get, shooken up. But don't get discouraged. Like it's gonna all, I promise you, it's all gonna come together. You're gonna see like, oh, I see why this happened at this time. Why God had me do this. Like I promise you, like everything will come together, and it's gonna be beautiful despite all the pain, all that. And I wrote a poem on that. It was called Pain. And it was purpose aligning in now. So like through all the pain that you're going through right now, it's purpose in all that, y'all. So definitely use that. Don't be a victim of your pain, but use that to push and keep going forward. And tell your story and share your story, because people need to hear it. Okay.
Period. So share your story with Black Girls Can Talk. Share your story with people around you in general. With that, I definitely want to ask you to once again let us know where we can find you, especially for those who are seeking your coaching. Let us know how we can find you.
Yeah, so right now I'm mostly on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at underscore your calling is calling. I'm on threads too and stuff like that. And I have on Facebook. I'm not really too much on the Facebook. I'm really focused on Instagram right now. But you can also follow me, subscribe on me on YouTube as well. So if you go to my link, if you go to beacons.ai/your calling is calling, I'll probably just give you that link too. But that has like all my socials and like everything in like one page, so you can just find everything right there. So I'll be sure to give you that too. And if y'all want to follow my podcast Instagram too, Progressing on Purpose, that's on there too. Y'all can follow that. Like I said, we're on break right now. We're preparing for season 2, but we'll definitely be accepting guests soon for that.
But go watch season 1. Hold on.
Definitely go watch it.
Like, subscribe,
Yes,
follow, do all of the things.
yes,
And that is
definitely.
so amazing. This has been so great. I'm so excited for all the things that you have coming up. I will definitely tap in once we are done. I'm gonna go and like and subscribe to your YouTube channel, because I want to keep supporting each other. Period. So we gonna keep in touch. We may have you back, and we gotta talk about how I can be a part of everything you have going on.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely. It was just like the first time we talked. I love the
Yep.
energy and the connection.
So everyone, if this episode resonated with you, or you know someone who would need to hear this or just will benefit from this conversation, please share it with them. Make sure that you reach out to Coach Fai if you need anything. Make sure that you like, subscribe, I'm gonna keep saying it, to her YouTube channel. Keep up with everything she has going on. Purchase the books, because not just Black Girls Can Talk, but
Absolutely.
purchase Coach Fai's book, and just support Black women at the end of the
At the
day.
end of the day.
So
That day got to
yes,
end,
so
okay?
at the end of the day, they got to
Okay.
end correct. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. I'm Dr. McCree. That's Coach Fai.
Yes.
And that is me. Until next time, y'all.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Black Girls Can Talk. I hope you felt heard, empowered, and inspired by today's conversation. If you love what you heard, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your girls. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at blackgirls_can talk to stay updated on future episodes and join the conversation online. Got something you want us to talk about or want to be a guest on our show? Hit us up on social media or visit our website at blackgirlscantalk.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, Black girls can talk, and we've got a lot to say. Until next time, stay powerful.